KT versus Gen G, patch 9.4. Remember, Silas global ban for this matchup.
Yep, not going to see it, and we're also not going to see Lissandra. KT have done their homework, and Fly is not going to have his by far most successful champion. That's going to be the first ban here, of course. More flexibility on the blue side, as the answer is the Vladimir.
Where someone like Fly goes is going to be intriguing to see. Bans continue for KT. Now that they've banned Fly out, I guess they can ban away some ruler champions.
Exactly. Oh dear. LeBlanc going to be the second ban here for Gen G. We'll see whether Illusion is going to be baited out here and Gen G can get potentially something else.
And I gotta say, I really have no read on KT Rolster today because it feels like their previous results shouldn't be relevant, right? They were no good in their first 10 series and they found no rhythm. They didn't really seem to have an avenue for victory. So I feel for Gen G, what do you ban against this team? Because I think KT doing some team building, doing a lot of scrims, would just be craving an identity over the past 2 weeks. And that identity for this Game 1 draft is the first pick Kalista.
Yep, Kalista going to come in, and the Galio remains available alongside both the Alistair and the Thresh, so not going to be able to pick away too much that Kalista is going to be able to synergize very well with, but the Galio has certainly been pick number 1. Could be an option here for Gen G if they want to lock that one away. The other champion that really needs to be noted is the Jace. I'm very surprised that it wasn't first picked for KT.
I actually don't mind it because I don't think you're so worried about giving Cuvée Jace. He's someone who has struggled heavily this season, and yes, they have a Jace victory, but it was Roach who was playing in the Jace game last time out. So with Lissandra open and other choices open, it feels like Gen G are playing towards the level of their opposition rather than just cribbing notes and taking other acquired picks. Okay, Lissandra's banned, I should mention, but at the end of the day, they're very much playing against their opposition here, and they're just going to go for the AD carry matchup and say, if you want the Jace, you take it.
Yep, and they're not going to, and which means that KT certainly have the option to head that way if they want to. Score's going to lock it away for most likely Smed, but of course B2D can flex over to it if he would like to, and I guess Score could play it himself. Zenit could also theoretically play it if you want to put Kalista somewhere else randomly. B2D now trying to work out what he wants to pick up first round here for KT.
Jungler could be considered here. Go back to one of Score's old bag of tricks, or you could try holding the pick for longer.
I think you need support.
Yeah, and that's one way to go on this. Go for the strongest laning possible duo, and this is the right call. You want to get as much laning power on the side of KT, so Kalista Thresh is the decision. When you have Gen G's comp, you've already got Tristana Galio, expected to be the bot lane duo. You're already like, okay, we're engaged. This is going to probably be about engaged, so it seems like they're going to look for further ways to try to squish the Kalista rather than trying to kite back.
Well, the Aurelia going to be banned away here. First up for Gen G, potentially a coverage ban for something that they want to pick up for Fly in the mid lane, or for Cuvée on the top side of the map. Yorick is going to be taken away from the man in question.
It is more and more of a blind pick top laner right now, and it's something that Smeb has played at Worlds, of course, and BDD. Had some great games on as well, so I don't mind it as a coverage ban, like you mentioned. Yasuo taken as well, so double 80 carry solo lanes, or 80 threat solo lanes, going to be banned away by Gen G.
I do like Fate's Call Yasuo compositions, so I don't mind the idea, and BDD, of course. Fantastic Yasuo player, Aurelion Sol going to be taken away from Fly, so that effective champion pool is dwindling.
But Zoe is taken away as well, so yeah, with Zoe, Aurelion Sol, and Lissandra, it's a lot of comforts kind of removed, right? So you wonder where Fly goes when we're starting to go straight down the priorities. He showed us a Karthus game that actually was pretty well played, all things considered. He's going to go to a pick that is definitely makes sense tier list-wise. It was like Syndra Ori are kind of where it is at in terms of tier list, but a pick that's actually never been a great pick for Fly. In Orianna metas, he's never been able to master the pick here. It does have great synergy, though, with something like the Jarvan and the hard engage ball carriers they have on the side of Gen G. How will KT respond? We had an Azir first series. Could definitely see it. Here it is. It's an oldie but a goodie matchup. Azir versus Ori out of nowhere.
Yeah, so Azir going to be making his way back onto the Rift. Of course, Faker playing in that in the famous game number 3. And speaking of famous picks, the Gragas going to be coming in for Score, potentially. I'd like to see a Kindred here, to be perfectly honest, because when you got Hero's Entrance, Cataclysm, and a Shockwave, then you may as well stop burst damage from coming in.
But then if you are Kindred, you have a lot of AoE that you find it very hard to time your ultimates. So I think for Kindred it would have been too tricky. I find it interesting they ended up on the Rek'Sai. It tells you they want to play early game, and I think there's probably some validity there. If they go Gragas jungle, then you kind of have a teamfight comp with Jace, and then you can understand how that game doesn't go the right way if the Jace falls behind or if the split push doesn't work on a team whose macro has been a bit all over the place. It falls apart, so I don't mind it. Here's Gnar.
Yeah.
It's not in the matchup we might have expected, but we do end up seeing Cuvee. We know he would have been one of the first Gnar players back today. Between Sword and Cuvee, we have some of our most famous Gnars. But we get the Gnar in this scenario. Does feel like the lane matchup could be pretty painful.
Certainly could, but at least you are ranged when you're in mid-Gnar form, so you can do a little bit of trading. As Fly's got the teleport on the Orianna for now. We'll see whether he does change that one up as we get into the game. The double teleports on both sides for these solo laners is actually relatively interesting, as Orianna and Azir are not natural teleport users.
KT have the Jace lane strength and Rek'Sai just having the skirmishing advantage over almost every jungler that Olaf locked in this game to contest it, and some very early spikes, and that's what they're going to be focusing on. The Azir brings a little bit of late game insurance, but you'd like what Gen G have in the late game, and definitely, if you're getting in with the right Gnar bar, you like the Gnar over the Jace, and that is the biggest disparity between the two lineups.
Yeah, I actually really like the Azir just for swiping your opponents out of a Cataclysm that comes down. I actually feel like disengage Emperor's Divides are going to be very important coming in from B2D. We'll see whether he can actually become a damage threat as the game goes on as well. But getting Kalista and Jace in this meta is actually a pretty impressive thing to do for any team, and KT going to be very happy with what they've put together, top and bottom.
But if neither team has form, you like the easier to execute draft or the early spikes, and I feel like KT has those. Gen G have what could be a game ender. Think about the best of Mega Gnar and the Shockwave while the Cataclysm has to be respected and rule of free hitting. You understand what a one team fight in the late game looks like. They fall behind enough, it doesn't matter. They don't get there, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. If everyone presses R apart from Tristana, you're going to have a really good time. As Gen G, pretty easy to execute composition, actually feels great for a team that has been floundering a little bit in the LCK as well, because communication can be the first thing to break down. But let's see what happens. Game number 1, KT, Gen G. Here we are already. A hook is going to fly forward, but life just wanders to the right. That's the way that you counter a hook by the sounds of things for the Galio.
Very, very assertive level 1 was being planned by KT there to get extra information for good old Rek'Sai. Score back on a pick that was his most played jungle when he debuted as a jungler in 2015 spring. So many years ago, making that role transition. Not a pick he's played so much, but what do we call Score but a pathing jungler? We say that in the nice way, not in any sort of ironic way. And, well, if you have access to the Tremor Sense and if you have the early spike, definitely a jungle pick, just like the Elise they hovered, where you could just straight up win the game through Rek'Sai's good work early game.
We're going to face check here, guys. Yeah, and Life is going to get the taunt. Actually a fair bit of damage, but that's a very early rend coming from Zenit, just to guarantee some damage there onto the Galio. And trading some health on your supports is something you're not too worried about.
Lead kind of slightly on the side of Gen G. Seeing Smeb versus Cuvee in the top lane, Conqueror Jace versus Summoner Aerie coming through from Cuvee. Just kind of grin and bear it. Reality of most matchups into the Jace, but is the payoff going to be there for maybe our best Korean Gnar player? Because Cuvee has had many super famous games on Gnar, maybe none better than beating Griffin in that second round match of summer season last year that had the old OGN arena rollicking just like the first series of today had the arena.
I actually have a feeling that I think Cuvee is the most clutch Gnar player in the world. I don't think anyone has had more huge game Gnar performances than this man over multiple years.
But how much of that matters in this year where Cuvee's had almost no good games at all, right? He's been the second best top laner on the lineup. Roach has definitely performed a lot more consistently. And he really had to look at his champion pool. If you look at his solo queue right now, he's trying a lot of stuff because they're not going to staunchly lock in Urgot like we saw from Griffin in the first series of the day. They're trying to update, but it's not like Gnar versus Jace gives you too much confidence apart from at least he has a ranged auto attack and try to shrug off the damage from the Jace.
Well, right now, B2D, so much control here in this mid lane, meaning that Score is given a lot of agency around this map. He's going to use that to grab a Scuttle on the top side as well, and this is some old Score flavor, as he's going to double Scuttle this game. Not going to be able to get any sort of buff steal or anything like that, but to double scuttle a Jarvan feels really good as the Rek'Sai.
Azir's pushing up, the Jace pushing up, and Peanut has learned not to try to contest these scuttles without priority. Plenty of priority early for KT. We already said we love when KT drops. In the early game, in fact, it's 3 pushing lanes and one of the best junglers of all time. And any other year, you're like, man, how could Genji ever let this happen? They actually opted into it with the last pick, Gnar, so they know what they're getting into, and gotta admit the KT have not necessarily been playing the late game anywhere near the level they need to win consistently in 2019.
And how does Genji win games ever? They win in late game team fights, even if they get early advantages. They're not necessarily a team that likes to go fast and loose. As 25 and 16 is win rate for Cuvée on this Gnar. 2.7 KDA is nothing to write home about, but like I said, it's about clutch moments. It's not necessarily about the true sum of the amount of games that he's played.
Deep Ward is quite fresh here, but it seems like Genji didn't actually know it came in, so it is spotting Peanut. Let's see how good Zenit is at walking up. Seems like Peanut just says whatever, puts down the control ward, and if there's no ward there, he's sneaking in. If there is, then he knows to leave. So it's probably the good choice there. He has a second control ward, so I think Peanut actually felt that situation out really well.
He did. And now he's able to wander out and can replace that control ward somewhere else if he would like to as well. So I do like the fact that you point out that he did have a couple sitting in that inventory.
Peanut's desync has been one of the big problems with Genji, right? There's been individual performance problems, but getting Peanut relevant during the season, you think of all his Nocturne games where he just wasn't pulling the trigger on the ultimate, pressing it, but then not being able to actually follow through on the paranoia. It's almost like the good performance in Kesper Cup lulled them into a false sense of security, and then suddenly nothing worked in the first round robin.
Yeah, just didn't really quite understand how to bounce back afterwards, but we all know that League of Legends is a game that can play on your emotions relatively easily.
Really? You say that after the first series of the day?
Yeah. I say that after a lot of my experiences for the last 10 years as well. So certainly it is settling in with us, and today's first series was the good kind of emotions.
And it's just stacked up, right? We had an amazing first series, praise in the audience, old teammates on both sides. You already feel like you know what the winner's interview sounds like, but you just don't know who the winner is, because that is the part that is up there. Already mentioned 40
There's the flash. Oh, the Justice Punch was perfect, and Life gets a well-deserved kill. This guy's initiative plays that he can plan out have been beautiful this season.
And that's really decisive. Everyone goes straight in. They only have to use the flash on Life. And like you mentioned, Gragas is his best pick. He's an engager. Nice play, Genji.
Really beautiful stuff. Zenit's not going to be the one that falls, though, so he's still able to stay here and pick up farm. 10 CS is going to be approximately his advantage.
And the good news is they can confirm the control ward is still there. They didn't use any summoners, so between the summoners being up defensively and the Fate's Call coming soon, there's still playmaking options for KT that wouldn't be available if summoners were down.
Well, you can see Score being a bit of a ward here at this stage. I believe that was a visual bug as Peanut comes in, clears out a ward. Score knows exactly what's going on. He is settling in. See where the Peanut is actually going to check to see where the Rek'Sai is. As you can see, Tremor Sense not going to give away the position of him
at this point. And now they know there's backup as well. They saw the movement around where Life is.
Yep, they're actually just going to go for this one anyway. Smeb did have the inside track, and you're not going to steal it with a flag, Peanut, so that is a successful steal away from Score.
I think every side played it correctly there. With Azir rotating, Peanut didn't move from his position to the right of the Raptors, and the flag is for Vision, of course, just to check what was happening. They got the confirmation. Here's a replay. A Vision advantage, if there ever was.
Yep. But it was very clean.
잡았다. 찌르만 지금 테리 있어. 생각해.
Listen to the voice there. Not actually much communication from Peanut, you noticed in that communication. Whoa.
Yep.
Someone said we got it.
Yeah, we got it. Thanks, G-Sun. The translation. Actually spoke to Ruler just briefly before this series. He seemed in pretty high spirits, which is not something that you necessarily expect from a team that has certainly been behind expectation. Is now Ruler in trouble.
Yeah, nice trade from Zenit, showing some good Callista moments.
I got to stop talking about players, man. I mean, last time I talked up Deft, he just went 0-6-0, and it was a really horrible time. So I'm just sorry, Ruler. Sorry, mate.
Again, going back to the play that we watched on the first steal, I want to point out, in a match between two teams with no farm, everyone played it well. Yes, the steal came through, but it's through priority and two winning lanes to push into. And Gen G, nobody kind of made the I'm going down with the ship moment where they just died for no reason. It was very ordered. And when these teams have been characterized by their mistakes in 2019 rather than their good plays, I do want to put that out there.
Yeah, I think that's actually very important. So Smev up here towards the top side, dealing with Cuvée very nicely, close to a 20 CS lead, but that is also true for Zenit on the bottom side of the map, having lost his support very early on. So really good to see this Kalista controlling the lane so well. Bilgewater Cutlass in hand will have the Blade of the Ruin King much sooner than Ruler has completed a first item as the BF Sword comes in, and then generally something like a Zeal item, as the hook is going to go wide, but Ruler is zoned completely away from this minion wave.
And honestly, we're all pretty scared, if you're a Gen G fan out there, of what the mid-game looks like when Warrior Enchant, now complete into Black Cleaver, Rek'Sai, does do her best Olaf impression of being a tempo jungler jungling around winning lanes. It's pretty hard to play Gnar when you got the Tremor Sense advantage, the enemy top laner has the combat advantage, and even Azir is getting the priority in mid lane. So it's winning lanes and one of the best junglers from ahead at jungling from ahead and even just blowing people up with your 5.2 AD ratio full combo on the Rek'Sai. And the reason why we thought we'd see a lot of Rek'Sai is that combo comes out way more reliably than someone like a Lee Sin. She doesn't have a lot of skill shots to hit, so because of that, KC have a lot of power to wield. But we know that if you wield it, it can be important. If you don't, you could be outscaled by Gen G.
Yep, and Ruler actually going to take some auto attacks here. Peanut deciding to go back home, I believe, can actually afford the Warrior Enchant as he's going to wait in base, but that's going to give Score all of the time in the world. Take this Mountain Drake. Zenit has inside track, as well as the Azir having that push in the mid lane as well. Fly is going to have to wait before he does any relevant damage here. You can imagine Luden's Echo wants to come in before he's going to be comfortable getting anything done.
I want to give a shout out to a Twitter user, KM Rocks Peanut, so kind of a funny nickname, but actually the interaction they discussed was we were talking about the attack speed scaling on the Azir. So it turns out that attack speed scaling per level doesn't impact base attack speed. Base attack speed is only what you spawn at level 1 with. So yes, you have more attack speed for more autos, but it's not the multiplicative scaling we were alluding to. So important interaction that we should shout out.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So it's approximately having a free dagger.
Yeah, you're getting more bonus attack speed than you did before per level, but it's bonus attack speed, not base attack speed more. So
okay,
thank you very much.
That's good to know.
Thank you very much for that. It's good confirmation. Just one of those interactions that's not spelled out anywhere, but if you just dive in there in the codex, you can find it. Don't have to dive hard to find a winning lane to jungle around. Peanut going to be spotted, and they know that he's on Krugs, and they find an angle.
Yep, Snowflower's going to make his way up as well as Peanut face checks. That is not what you want. Oh, he predicts it, but isn't quite able to land the hook. Peanut going just slightly askew of where the Thresh thought. Thought Rift Herald might have been started there, but not going to happen. Having that Mountain Drake in your back pocket could be an option here as Troll Ward goes down, but Peanut is privy to this.
I got Snowflower on the Rift, something you always want. His Thresh, of course, a famous pick for him in seasons past. Doesn't hit the hook. Means Kalista's isolated, but remember that Kalista was changed to have more power without her Oathsworn around her, so it isn't quite, it's not combat ready next to the Tristana. Still a fan of Tristana in the 1v1 laning matchup.
Nice.
But moments like that make things a bit easier for Zenit.
Yeah, and if you land one of those Qs that has actually picked up some Ren stacks, really can change the state of a lane. Seen Tristanas have pretty decent times against Kalistas in the past. Certainly has been considered a counter matchup. But that's meta's gone by, and I feel like both of the champions have changed just a little bit. Score, once again, he's going to make his way back. This Brambleback belongs to him. It's now B2D. Not going to reveal himself, I don't think.
He's spotting for his junglers, so just doing the team thing there while the minion wave hadn't crashed. Speaking of junglers.
With this control ward here, B2D knows that he can stand his whole way up.
Both mid laners can actually get into combat, but notice it's phase rush teleport Orianna and it's teleport Azir, so it's actually double teleport in a lane that would have been heal or barrier in previous seasons for sure. So I thought there was a chance BD would just try to swoop in after the Q did hit from the Rek'Sai for that guaranteed burst, but not going to do that. It's going to return to a lane that he's only inches ahead. Definitely by no means running away with the CS department is BDD.
Exactly, but did go back and had a huge buy. The Nash's food completed already. Fly's going to go back home because he was sitting on a lost chapter. So as far as item advantage is concerned, B2D really far ahead. Shelly's going to go down. Score's able to pick that one up as he puts it down immediately.
And wants to smap some gold, because we already talked about how KT focused on the early game. Wants to get it in pre-14 minutes for the charge. Solo gold to Jace, it's looking like.
This is looking like very clean play from KT, though.
Agreed.
Not what we've been seeing in the past at all.
You almost feel like the nameplates are the old ones, right?
Yeah.
Not the new ones when it comes down to playing out the early game. These are the comps KT Rolster in 2017 and 2018 would traditionally win on. They would close it out 3:30 and be fine, but those nameplates have changed, especially in the bottom lane, and that has changed their fortunes. The bottom lane being 30 CS up. It really does feel like opposite day for KT.
Exactly right. I mean, you could take the nameplates off and you see Deft and Martyr on this particular duo, and you're like, oh, well, of course they're 30 CS up.
And you're like, BDD for UCal, we'll take it.
Yeah. And, of course, UCal, a bit of a Nazir player himself, so composition certainly feels extraordinarily KT. I think BDD certainly proving himself, as hindsight gives us the information of, a much better replacement here. UCal in 2018, a very different story. So UCal in 2019, fortunately.
Really bad item timing for Fly. He has the Sorcerer's Shoes for a bit of shockwave damage, but no Lucas, right?
Yeah, it's been a long time since he's been home as well. If we had a look at the money, it certainly would be a worrisome state, as Smurf's going to miss the Empowered Shock Blast, but still they're going to go in so much damage there onto the Orianna. And no reaction.
A lot of respect, though, of the potential for some backup. I think he just moved away, expecting a Galio ult that never came. So no extra tools used, but Orianna finally gets that shopping trip. Sadly for Gen G, it's exactly the wrong time for it.
Yep, exactly. That means that this Ocean Drake should be able to go to KT pretty effortlessly. For these guys, that Luden's Echo finally completed, but that was a big purchase to come in from the Ori.
As TP Ori, you may be back, but you don't have any control in the river. Seems like Scores are more interested in trying to find a kill somewhere. Bot lane.
Yep, Zenit in trouble. Peanut turns up at exactly the right time, and the Cataclysm seals his fate. That's what you do to a Kalista, you explode her.
And Score actually going to have to hop skip his way through. This might actually end up being the Drake against the run of play. The side of Gen G. That control ward in the second brush has had 2 jump scares, and both of them have been kills over the side of Gen G.
Yeah, fantastic stuff here from Gen G, turning this series on its head a little bit. Not going to be able to get anywhere near a gold lead or anything like that. Of course, the Dragon only worth 100, as Peanut is able to secure it, but getting the Orianna some extra mana in this lane when blue buffs might be hard to get to, given the fact that Rek'Sai has so much control, is very important.
Let's try and work out whether this is worth it. Zenit just takes an auto, and of course you're committed when you go for the auto that he doesn't want. The moment that he goes towards a Galio and it's a jump scare out of the wall, that's a straight up trading mistake. I was going to wait and see, is there actually a time to use stopwatch? The answer was no.
Yeah, but also there was a lantern there, but it got double warded as soon as it came down. So I guess you can play a little bit more aggressively, thinking you've got the Thresh there, but if your opponent's real quick, clicking that guy is real hard.
I'm sorry, I saw a lot of 200 IQ plays in the first series.
I know, things are a little bit different here. And I just mentioned that, you know, this could be Deft and Martyr. Well, I think that's proof that it's not. Gen G versus KT is a different story than what it was years gone by. Zenit has had some good moments. And I think most notably his Sivir play looked good in his debut game, I believe.
I really like this control ward that has been placed for almost the entire laning phase for Gen G. So I'm going to name it. I'm going to name it 2017.
You're going to call it 2017? Okay.
Yeah, it's a good year for Gen G.
That was a good year for Gen G. And if there's any good KT ones, I think they could be 2018.
Yeah. But remember, 2017 is not going to last that long. In fact, I think 2017's gone.
Oh no, did it get 2019?
I don't think Gen G wanted to be 2018 or 2019.
I know. What's worse?
Oh, picking your poison and then some.
I know. Sad times. Okay, Ruler in Life just going to be clearing up some more vision themselves. I believe 2018 just went down. As our Score looking for this gank onto Cube. Not a lot of options. The flash knockup is going to be there every time, and Smeb picks up the kill. Really nicely done from KT, and the Jace only further ahead now.
I agree with Score's decision, though. He's continuing to jungle around the strong side, and at least Kalista Thresh, they're the slippery duo, but they're leaving them to the walls at KT Rolster.
Yeah. Can they leapfrog their way out of this one? Of course, it is something that this duo can do very, very well. Peanut remembers that, and he is going to leave now because there's so much pressure topside.
Rek'Sai cannot salvage lanes. She helps strong lanes win more. That is what they're doing, trying to get a super long map on the top side. Inner turrets aren't always of huge value, but Azir and Kalista on a Baron seems like a quick Baron from the side of KT.
Exactly right. KT not going to lose anyone down here, but they will lose a turret, but it's in trade for the inner turret top side of the map. Cube has not a long walk to get out of his base to his lane, however, it can be a very long one once he does get it shoved out. And B2D is just slowly and happily scaling towards the later stages. Of course, the Orianna does want to do the same thing, but you look at an Azir with far more growing attack speed now, going to be feeling pretty comfortable moving into the later stages of the game.
And we need to see Gen.G, who, like KT, have lacked some fundamentals this season, put 2 and 2 together and say, it's 19 minutes, at 20 minutes, KT have just an obscene Baron speed. They have Azir, Kalista, Jace, Rek'Sai. They delete Baron as a 4, and they've never really been in their red side jungle ever since Rek'Sai made her first visit there. So Baron vision from 20 minutes onwards is paramount for Gen.G.
Yeah, absolutely. Now 2 items done for Smeb. They're going to have all that topside control that they want. Cheeky little ward there for Gen.G on the back of the Baron pit to stop anything cheesy coming in the next 40 seconds when that Baron does respawn. It looks like KT are looking to set up some vision around this Mountain Drake that's going to be coming in next, and this is one they're definitely going to be fighting for. Double Mountain Drake, we've spoken about it a lot, but
Holy
double
crap.
Mountain Drake plus Kalista plus Azir and plus Jace is, yeah, is that like, it's probably it's a Cassiopeia away from the most Baron damage ever.
Yeah, Karthus somewhere else would be nice as well.
Snowflower's going to face check though. Actually takes a lot of damage. Has to flash. Oh, and the Fade Skull. That's a bit. That's and he goes back into the hook and lands it. Is that redemption to come in, Papa Smithy? I don't know. Box is going to come down. Snowflower's now exhausted. Ignited, sorry, but Smeb comes in with the Empowered Shock Blast, and Gen.G are going to be able to back away. B2D down towards the bottom side of the map says, I'll just take this turret if you don't mind.
I don't mean to blow a pretty small moment out of proportion, but after 2 weeks where you could have been team building and scrimming, you should not be flashing and Fates calling at the same time.
No.
Synergy between Zenit and Snowflower there, I think, is an important takeaway. Meanwhile, B2D able to push in the turret. With their early spikes, they're still wielding them well. The gold lead, though, is not a game closer, though. It's only 2,000. And until the Baron goes down, Gen.G do have plenty of light at the end of the tunnel.
The thing I do like about KT is exactly what you say. Like, the tower goes down very easily on the bottom side of the map. Azir is a phenomenal turret taker. Smeb in the same position on the Jace with that hypercharge. If you leave a turret to KT for too long, it will just straight up die very quickly.
This KT Rolster to play a game that's a 3-lane closeout? Your instinct is no. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yes, in the past, yes, they have power, but down the bottom of the table, things are different. Drake is down to 3,000.
Yep, Soldiers are going to be in there as Score. Does get himself over the wall. Smeb looking for the flank play as well as the Dragon is extremely low. Peanut is able to get it, but there's the Emperor's Divide. That's a good taunt to come in on top of Zenit as he's trying to jump away. Double play, and then Zenit has to go into the stopwatch. Bottom lane is very dead. Hero's entrance comes down, but Score goes into his stopwatch, and now it's B2D Smeb Score against the world, and the world is going to win this time as Ruler free hitting, explosive charge going to go off, and he's happy to rocket jump on top of the Jace. He was the one they decided to kill, and now Ruler is well and truly online.
And Atlas, we knew Gen.G had the better 5v5, and KT were winning all across the map, so why are we fighting 5v5? Is a question KT should have been asked. They felt stronger than they are, and kind of the insult upon injury is, Orianna never even ulted this fight, and it was still a rout by Gen.G. We watch the replay, Paul's not in a position to ult as the fight begins, and as we watch it, Tristana, no one's even looking at her. We know team fights with Jace are not team fights with Urgot, even though Jace replaced Urgot as the first pick, and Ruler's hopping mad, and KT walked away with just a terrible result from a scenario where they were so far ahead.
Yeah, and you sort of watch it, and it's exactly like you say. It's like, well, I mean, this is you chose to team fight against the team fight comp with a lot of R buttons available. And they didn't even need all of them, and they still win. I mean, that's just how it's supposed to work here.
You know the whole doctor, like, point to me where it hurts?
Yeah.
The analogy here is, if we look at the minimap, and Papa Smithy says, point to me where you win, KT, it's everywhere in the side lanes. They have so many fantastic side lanes. The only place that's a risk is around the
If
Drake.
everyone's on the same screen, you're having a bad time.
Hey, look,
this is what you need, yeah. go to a side lane and kill Fly.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
KT Rolster are learning Atlas.
Oh,
it only took them 11 best of 3s.
That was a quick pivot, though, because they make the mistake around the Dragon Pit. They're like, hang on a second, maybe this will change our fate. And look, it's game 1, KT versus Gen G, and remember KT, a lot of games behind is Peanut. Not going to get knocked up, is going to be slowed down, not taken out of the flag and drag. Score comes along over and does have Tremor Sense to keep them aware of where everyone is. Snowflower looking for a hook, but isn't going to be able to find it. And there's a Kalista a very long way away. Not in Fate's call range at the moment. Peanut, relatively low.
Gold lead still's not ballooned either way. Gen G still have that opportunity to make this all about the team fight they drafted for in KT. See if they find the killer
that's
instinct.
Huge. That's the powered shock blast, and that is a Tristana that cannot be in the next fight. So KT, free turrets, and that's what we like. We like that.
They have so much. Look at the minimap. Control wards. They still own the red side jungle. They have 2 turrets up there. Fly as an Orianna. Wave clearing. Scores overextended.
Yeah. Ignore this one as Smev's trying to get him in there, but he actually flashes over the acceleration gate. Score taking so much damage. He needs another one. The area isn't going to be enough. There's the flash. The last boulder comes in. And Cube on his own skin smacks down the Rek'Sai.
They just allow Cube to chase in. They respect the Galio. They respect the worst, but it looked like there could have been some sort of answering play. I understand why there wasn't. But the end result is Smite is dead, and now all the map control means for naught because the enemy Smite means that Gen G can start actually clearing this wards that have really been gaining and aging so finely in the top side of the map.
Yeah, and it's just so interesting to watch, you know, Score find the Gnar, hops out of the ground and then just wanders. I guess he didn't quite know which champion it was there. Of course, the problem with Tremor Sense is that you only get a circle. Doesn't tell you exactly who's going to be there.
Nice
Found
item
the wrong
timing.
person.
The Frozen Mallet made that all possible.
Yeah.
An oldie but a goodie for the Gnar that we were talking about. We would expect to see in the Yorick matchup. This wasn't a matchup we thought. We missed this top side of the play. As you know, this was just a kill.
Just a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I didn't see the start of the play, so I didn't recognize. I thought it might have been a second kill. But Score walks up, and you know what? First auto hits, and Cube just chases him down.
Yep. Even when Smev gets there with the acceleration gate, look at that. Score actually flashes over it and doesn't get the extra movement speed that might have actually had a chance of helping him there. But it was going to be very difficult for him to get out of the way. Flag and drags would have been available. Gen G fans erupt in applause. This is a very close match. 7-4 is the kill score in favor of Gen G, but certainly does feel like KT have a lot of control.
And they've got the team fight advantage in our evaluation. If this was any other teams, is are they far enough ahead with this draft?
Oh, that play was fantastic. Fixed him in the 3 members that are there. Ruler goes into his stopwatch, but he can't move out of the way. The double knock-up is there with the Fate Skull, and Snowflower just takes it onto himself to win this fight. 3-man Shockwave is in there, and now they're trying to turn it around as Cube is gigantic on the back line, but now Zenit is still hopping around the fight. Score comes in, GA in hand, and now B2D finally makes his way down. They're chasing Peanut out of here, and B2D doesn't even get hit by the boulder. They spot him. They know how this one works. The knockup is on to Score, and now they've moved the wrong direction. Bit of yakety sacks here, Papa Smithy, but they should be able to just take down the job.
Exactly, just trying to waste time. It doesn't work as well when it's the Smite because it means your Baron contest is still going to be weak. Wasting time, wasting time. Orianna will be able to teleport in, but that's a long time for Peanut to be off the map, and it's all from the god hand of one of the OG Threshers himself in Snowflower. This is how you shut up anyone's analysis. Waller walks up, the note button won, and then he threads it through again.
That is straight up an Aussie rules goal right there, and the Fate's goal gets the triple knockup. The team fight was almost saved by the 3-man Shockwave to come in right here, but that was some of the best Thresh play I have ever seen.
In a 4v5, B2D's not even there. It's the only reason Gen G aren't routed. B2D would have just killed them where they stood.
Yeah.
But the super play from Snowflower gets this moment where, remember, Peanut is still dead.
Yep, 2 seconds before he's back up again. Teleport to come in from Fly to bring him into this fight. Actually, no, Cube turns up that way. Is the hook gonna go wide this time, but that is just a zoning hook, guys. Snowflower still best. And the Baron is going to go over to KT. This series is giving a lot more than I was expecting, Papa Smith. I was trying to find the right words there, as you could hear my brain moving. But
wait, that adjective's no.
Yeah,
right.
no.
That's not that one. That's not that one.
No, that's fine. Got there in the end. That's the main thing. Monopoly on the Drakes here for Gen G, but This is like getting the tiny, crappy ice cream and your big brother just bullying his way forward and getting the real nice one.
And it's cheddar cheese ice cream too. It's not the one you wanted. You said you wanted ice cream. And
yeah, exactly.
You thought you could contend with
Greek
anything.
yogurt
What's the worst? Vanilla? No,
Yep.
it's cheddar cheese.
I actually love Greek yogurt. That was a really bad example. But
Yeah, shame on you.
yeah, so I apologize, everyone. I used to not like it. I'm like, Greek yogurt is amazing.
An intriguing item choice from Fly. He's gone.
Spellbinder.
I think he had double Neil's large rod, so I think he just bought this for some power now. That makes sense. A very interesting choice regardless. The Spellbinder now, it does mean that he opens up with a really fast entrance to a fight, and also
with phase rush,
exactly.
He's going to be very fast.
So he's not going to be sitting in Sand Soldier autos for any moment, but usually we see this on target acquisition mages, and Orianna doesn't need to be in range to be a target acquisition mage most of the time. So a peculiar choice, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like put the ball on Peanut and then try and put as much power into it as you possibly can. But KT, after taking that very quick Baron, like we were talking about earlier on in the game, are going to be able to move into all 3 lanes. Even Score going to be doing some split pushing for himself. Peanut spotted. But there's not a whole lot that he can do to actually affect this situation. Fly clears out minions pretty well, but with 3 lanes full of Barons, you're going to have a bad time. Not much of a Baron power play just yet, but the towers are yet to start falling.
And again, not much of a gold lead yet for KT either. It is not ballooned. It's only around 4,000 gold, and we like the teamfight scaling. Couldn't call the last one a teamfight because of just the god hand of Snowflower deciding the whole skirmish into fight alone. KT walk up. They're a strong siege comp, so with the Baron, they're getting the max.
Exactly, Score's going to make his way over. Doesn't exactly have Void Rush anymore to get himself across the map, so he does need to try and close in. But you can see the items. There are some real big ones coming in. 3 item spikes for all 3 of the carries here for KT. It's a really nice hat. It's a pretty cool Bloodthirster, and Score is now in trouble. Tries to flash away. Does have a tunnel available as well as Ruler. He's going to turn up and just grab a free kill. Not sure what Score's plan was there.
I believe he was on a ward, and also it was very, very disconnected, so that was a great move from Gen G. They call in the reinforcements, they do it as a 3, and they get a lot out of Score. It was just, honestly, caught napping.
He was. And you can see there is a ward up there as well, so glad you pointed that one out. Just wasn't quite aware that that one was available.
Released a lot of pressure too. 3-lane pressure is gone. Let's see if the ward was there from the start. The answer is no. They just saw him go up, assumed he was there. The ward confirms it, but still, they just don't have the control on this side anymore. They don't have the vision line anymore to know if allies are coming. So important takeaway, Score too far up.
Exactly. Well, now we've got a BF sword on Zenit, but the 3 items are in for Ruler, plus he's augmented it. He's got a BF sword there as well, so both of these 80 carries sitting on exactly the same item timing. And when you're looking at it, Tristana at level 15 feels like it's going to be a little bit more valuable.
So why do we like Gen G versus KT? One of the simpler ways to, it's not just, okay, Orianna in the late game, the amount of Wombo. It's purely because Ruler will be at the back of the fight, and front-to-back team fighting, where the AD carry has to deal with the threats in front of him, is so much easier. Because Gen G, QV can leap into the back. Jarvan can ignore people. EQR is almost an entire screen, and he can bring the shockwave with him. Meanwhile, KT's backline access, Fate's Call on Snowflower, nothing else. Jace doesn't fight anything there. So it's much harder for KT to out-teamfight Gen G. Gold lead won't necessarily bear out either, as this time the hook goes wide.
That was real close. Peanut going for a flank, I believe. Spotted. No, actually not. Thank you, observers, for showing us. Gets the control ward over, and Peanut does give himself away. Now we're playing top versus bottom side of the map. Infernal up before the Baron. Ruler can actually take some poke damage here from KT. Of course, you can poke Zenit as much as you want. Fate's Call, I believe, was just used by Zenit as well.
Big ult. Now we know that Ruler will have no threat onto him outside of something unbelievable, like an Azir all in. He doesn't have death cap. He doesn't have Zhonya's. He has death cap. He went full damage. So backline Azir is what BDD's looking for.
Yeah, and the Rek'Sai Flash knock-up not available, as Score had to use it when he died on the top side of the map. So KT, not a lot of hard engage options. And Peanut, he says he's got heaps of them as Snowflower's just put in the cage. Does land the hook though, as Zenit is starting to hop around this fight, but does cleanse out, and the Rend is actually getting some value. Oh no, that's not what you want. It is a hula hoop to come out from Fly, but Snowflower's dead already, and it's 5 versus 4 in favor of Gen G.
We're just waiting for Ruler to get some autos off. He 2-shots the half-health Thresh. into the death chamber. KT gonna try and force a Baron contest, but it's too disconnected to actually dissuade the Infernal from going to Gen G.
Yeah, Fly's even going to be able to pick up this money as well. Not needed. Try and lock that one down. They're able to take care of their minion waves and take down an Infernal Drake before the Baron comes up.
Yes, but it feels a bit greedy to do all three at the same time. Pushing both minion waves and taking Infernal is a little bit bold to me because you're not contesting what you know is already going to be a control ward line from the enemy. It's still doing a death timer, so again, you can kind of understand it, but I don't think many teams go for the ultra greed in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, it did work, so I guess you have to commend them, but you're right. It's, not exactly the best. Is Life not going to be able to taunt the Sand Soldiers? They're not alive.
No, they're dead.
Yeah, they are.
Or undead, or whatever,
oh, no,
whatever it's
you reminded me of Anthony.
And 2017.
Oh, yeah. And 2018. There's some sad times here.
Some item breakpoints talk about double lifesteal onto Zenit, but a lot of backline threat means that there will be much more unlikeliness that you're just able to free fire away, and Kallista's summoners are both down. Very important to remember for the next fight, because that means that Gen G should find their man more often than they don't.
Yeah, exactly. That cleanse will be coming up relatively soon, but the flash very far away, and this Baron should certainly be contested before that one is available. You can see that's why he's standing so far back. He can't even reveal himself as a target in the start of these fights because, honestly, the amount of target acquisition, like you call it, from Gen G is just ludicrous. They have a lot of different options. Bottom side of the map, Smeb is going to be starting this split push once again, and the vision control is going to be there for KT around this Baron for the moment.
Would love to get a TP advantage, stop it being this expected Baron play from Gen G, but unable to do so now. Our KT Rolster. The items are so fearsome on both sides.
Yeah. And that's actually a free reset to come in here for Gen G. They managed to restock on these control wards. Only 3 were picked up as they exited, but needed to replace a lot very quickly. So still 3 in the inventory. There are a lot there for KT. They were unable to use the advantage, though, as Peanut is going to move on over. Score tunnels his way out. Preyseeker does about nothing to the Jarvan.
Nice to be down as Cube trying to chase on to Smeb. Has the Randuins, but I don't think he can actually tussle with him in a long lane. Gen G clearing vision. Peanut, unfortunately, could not actually pick up a control ward because he has most of a Gargoyle's Stone Plate, still has the broken stopwatch. Usually a jungler is the most likely to have the double control ward stack, but at least he's Jarvan and can throw his flag over vision, do his best impression of the Gragas bowling we always told him.
Yeah. And I like that you talk about the Gragas bowling because I remember Rek'Sai as being one of the best Gragas bowlers in the game.
By that we mean,
pretty good.
By that we mean if you lose map control, you're just forced to have one job of spotting Elder or spotting Baron, depending on which side of the map you're on. Much easier to spot defensively for KT around the Elder and Gen G around the Baron just because of map geography. Able to do that. Tremor Sense or just throwing down the flag if you're Peanut.
Yep. Also Preyseeker pretty good if your Tremor Sense is not giving you anything.
Feels like super play.
We're just going to jump in onto Zenit. He is bouncing away from this one, though, and does have the Guardian Angel. They're going to turn this one around immediately as Snowflower actually botches that a little bit. Unfortunate. Not going to stay there when he goes down on the Fate's Call. Gen G, a lot of damage from Ruler here as there's the Shockwave. Gets the flash out of Snowflower, but that was only one target. And the support after he'd used most of his spells. But Ruler, look at how safely he can play up. His range is so huge at level 17.
The one to watch here is BDD. They know Shockwave is down. They know Gnar doesn't want a group. Do you chance an all-in? That either wins you the game or loses you the game.
Well, Cube's actually looking for a Gnar as well. I don't think he actually has any at all at this point. Life going to come on over. They knew that as the hook is going to land onto the Gargoyle, and he's just dead. Zenit explodes him. This is how much damage is in the game at this point in time. Score takes most of his health bar, though, from the Baron, and they do back away.
But should they have?
Close.
It's such a hard question right now. They back off Baron. You understand why, but we know Shockwave is down. There's no 40% CDR in this build from the Orianna. Will there be a better time to actually try to make it about a smite? Can you actually continue to play 3 lanes and close it out? Is an evolving question for KT. Watch the replay. Someone's got a face check. It wasn't going to be the Gnar. He only just is grouping. So they get the TP out. The TPs are disconnected, and they get the kill.
Well, Buster Shot already on cooldown here from Ruler as well as we come out of that one. And most importantly, the flash was just picked up by Smeb. That feels like KT's go button. They're looking for it. Thanks, observers, for confirming.
Life is not in range yet, and Peanut almost dies.
Oh my god, BDD just does so much damage right now. Draw a bead has given Ruler so much extra range as that's going to be the smite. The only one in the pit picks it up. Hero's entrance comes down. 3 GAs pop at exactly the same time, and now Life gets in. The Emperor's Divide is huge, but it only manages to pick up the job, and it's a double kill for Life, who finally lands an ult that you want, and Ruler gets it. There's a control ward that they prepared earlier, and Gen G smashed the fight.
They rout them in the 5v5 as we thought they would, Atlas. The way it starts was about as much of an advantage as KT was going to find. In the end, though, it becomes about the comms. Going to watch the replay to see how the flash was going. Holy crap, Ruler.
Wow, what?
Why?
I don't know, maybe it was the 700 IQ that we witnessed from Tarzan before, you know, use an ability to bait out more, something like, I'm not entirely sure because they win the game. I don't know how that works. I don't know how you blow a flash trying to 1v1 a top laner as a Tristana, but this is what happens. See that 50 gold? That went over to Ruler. What an interesting match. Honestly, I'm a little bit lost for words because I felt like KT had a lot of control. If that Baron had been picked up and they made it out of that pit, I mean, the Azir did a lot of work, but finally a shockwave hits. And Ruler then free hits on the back end. The team fights are beautiful from the composition that Gen G put together. Very unfortunate here for this KT roster, and especially that man on your screen right there. He was just ready to start playing League of Legends with his newly bought items, but just wasn't to be the case for the Azir.
This feels like the sort of game where if you try to make it about impressionist art, I think you're making it too complicated. At the end of the game, at the end of the day, when we saw the pick ban, we said, this is a hard draw for KT to execute on, and they don't have any wins. And yes, you see the nameplates, you're like, but they used to be able to do that. What about the past? Nameplates don't matter. It goes back to being an 8th, 9th place team trying to play a side lane push Jace comp against a God teamfight comp that took losses in every lane to make the teamfight happen. And even when Peanut's out of health and other things are there, the God teamfight comp is still better at teamfighting. And in the first round of damage, they got 3 Guardian Angels, it felt like, and then it's just Lambs to the slaughter for the winning teamfight around Baron.
Yeah, I really like the level head from Gen G just to stick in it and take them out in the end. They made the right macro calls in the later stages of the game, which is something that we used to credit Gen G for, but not necessarily able to in the past. And this is KT chunking out the jungler, ensuring a Baron.
They're behind the Baron here, so taking a lot of damage from it, and Azir leaves as the Shockwave finds multiple members. So shout out to Fly. Found the crucial Shockwave when he needed to. Definitely didn't see some issues with his team fighting now, and then Life can follow it up. They re-engage, and all the health bars are full.
Just evaporated. And honestly, it feels like, you know, Fly hit the one Shockwave that he needed to hit, and then the game was over. He fumbled a few of them, and he got some flashes out from other ones and things like that, but oh man, it was impressive stuff in the end there.
So they showed the death again. For
yeah, I know, right?
We're going to throw out some stats there and go to game number 2, and I think we had a question. I thought KT did a lot of good things here.
Yeah.
But there was an inevitability in my mind that it would all be to a point, just because Gen G were never blown out in gold. If you had 10,000 gold lead while playing like KT did, yes, you can close the game. But Jace macro is harder than Urgot macro, and it just felt like the Jace macro games I was worried I was going to see in other regions back in the LCK.
I feel like the level of play, though, was higher than what we're expecting from this series. I actually felt like both of these teams were making intelligent decisions the majority of the time. And yes, there were some fumbles. I felt like Score had a little bit of a rude re-entry to the LCK with this one, having been caught out of position a couple of times. But otherwise, this actually really did stand up to the eye test of, you know, what more of a middle-of-the-pack squad would be like, instead of it being the disaster scenario that we have expected from a lot of our previous Worlds teams in Jin.
But how many teams run away with that lead from KT is a question we can't empirically know the answer to. I think more teams do than don't, Atlas, and that's why Gen G do get it over the line. Can they do it a second time?
Exactly. This is a best of 3, guys, so we'll be back after a very short break to see whether Gen G can topple KT 2-0 and get themselves out of that relegation situation. It's a rough time for them. We'll see what happens after the break.